picturesque Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia. It's the 5th stop for the NASCAR Winston Modified Tour. And yes, it is overcast, somewhat hot and humid, and there are showers in the area. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and they've nicknamed me the Rain Doctor because every time we're on, it seems to rain some way, shape, or form. But today, we're going to get lucky. We're going to have great racing and no rain, I hope. Today's race is a very special feature for you. I love the open-wheel cars of NASCAR. They put on one whale of a show. Joining me, a young man who came out of this division and has really rocketed in his career, particularly last week, is Brett Bodine. And Brett, a couple of wins here at Martinsville in your career, but last week, that first Winston Cup win, congratulations.
Thanks very much, Jerry. It was definitely a special day for us. The Quaker State Buick race team, very happy to get their win.
Let's talk about the modified drivers here today. This is sort of their Super Bowl. They like coming to Martinsville, Virginia, but why is it important for them to run well today?
Well, with the Winston Cup car owners watching this race today, just like in my career and Jeff and Jimmy Spencer's, it's very important to run well in front of them. Someday it might pay off and get them a chance in a Winston Cup car.
These are what we might call NASCAR's version of the Gladiator. It's a special kind of courage it takes to drive one of these pocket rockets. Their cars weigh 1,000 pounds less than a Winston Cup car, have 600-plus horsepower motors. It's a different kind of mindset to drive a modified car as opposed to what you drive.
Well, it really is, especially here at Martinsville with the long straightaways, the modified cars, tremendous top speed at the end of the straightaway, drive awful hard into the corner, a little bit of brake, and then hard on the gas and down the next straightaway. Makes for exciting racing.
It should be an exciting day here, this Raven Boats 150. Before we get started, let's check in with our own expert down in the pits, Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I don't know if I'm much of an expert on modifieds, but I think Brett Bodine is correct. There's a lot of drivers today would like to use this race to springboard them into a Winston Cup career. I think Jeff Fuller, the pole sitter, is no exception. He hasn't won this year on the Winston Modified Tour, but he did run second here at Martinsville about a month ago. Came from the back twice during that day to finish second. Would love to have a victory, especially in front of those Winston Cup owners that Brett Bodine was talking about. I'm leaning up against the toolbox for one reason, because if we see crews today coming in here getting tools to work on their cars, that means they're in trouble. 150 laps, I don't think the cars are going to have to make any pit stops at all. If they're in the pits, they're in trouble. Jerry?
If that's the case, Benny, we'll see you in victory lane then after 150 laps of great green flag action. The cars are gridded on the front straightaway. Let's take a look at the Sears Die-Hard starting grid. Front row, Jeff Fuller, as you heard Benny Parsons mention, a young man looking for his first win in Martinsville Speedway here, alongside young man Mike Iwanesco, 23-year-old driver on that front row. Row 2, Mike Stefanik, defending champion of the Raven Boats 150 from a year ago, and the veteran George Kent at 40 years of age. Back in row 3, Doug Hebron in the car number 3, along with Tommy Bowles in the car number 76. Row 4, Mike McLaughlin, 1988 Winston NASCAR Modified Tour champion, and the man who won the opener for the Tour this year here at Martinsville back last month, Reggie Ruggiero. Back in row 5, Tony Hirschman, and he'll be getting a relief driver today. We'll tell you more about that a little later on. He was injured a few weeks ago, and alongside him will be Carl Pastriak, the veteran driver. Row 6, Jamie Tomeno, the current point leader here for the Modified Tour, and veteran 45-year-old driver Brian Ross. Back in row 7, Jay Hedgecock, a man who builds race cars for a living here in the South. He builds the cars for Richard Petty. He's also an oftentimes modified competitor. He could be a strong contender alongside of Billy Middleton, a man who ran well last week in our modified race from the Wilkesboro Speedway. Row 8, Rick Fuller. He's the younger brother of our pole sitter Jeff Fuller, and he'll be flanked by Charlie Rudolph in his first year on the modified tour. Back in row 9, Gary Myers in the car number 14, one of the Southern drivers, alongside another young man, Bobby Hutchins, who is 30 years old and a mechanical engineer who works full-time for Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt Racing. Row 10, veteran modified campaigner Tony Ferranti in the car number 31, and a two-time Bowman Gray Stadium champion, car number 01 is Philip Smith. Row 11 will be John Hoffman in the car number 11, and Satch Worley getting out of his normal Bob Garbarino ride. The car was wrecked earlier today. He will be back in the 07 for Speedy Thomas. He will start outside row 11. Row 12, Eddie DeHunt in the car number 9, and Rayvon Clark in the car number 20. Back at the rest of the field, you take a look at row 13, and on through the field, we'll bring our analyst in here, Brett Bodine. And Brett, these guys, 150 laps here, there are no pit stops, I guess, and no tire changes.
Not at all, Jerry. Nothing planned in the pit for today's action, and we're going to just see some flat-out modified racing at its best. Jeff Fuller's got a lot to prove here at Martinsville. He was real strong in the first race this year, and he's looking to get a win here today.
The drivers are getting their cars warmed up here behind the Pontiac safety cars. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have green flag action from Martinsville Speedway. We'll be back. Folks from the Raven Boats Company sponsoring today's 150-lap modified tour event here in NASCAR. Today's Speed World coverage of the Raven Boats 150 is brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. And by Purelator, the world's largest filter company, Purelator. And let's take a look. We told you about Satch Worley, who normally drives for Bob Garbarino and is currently showing very well up in the point standings. I think third overall in the point spread, and he had trouble early today.
Yeah, he was involved in an accident in practice, and Jimmy Spencer turned over his ride in Stephen Thomas's car to Satch Worley. It's kind of like old home days here with Satch getting back in. Speedy's car had a lot of success here in the South in that car, and look for Satch to make a pretty strong move to the front. I feel confident that that car's capable, and we know Satch is.
And we told you there would be another driver change going on early today. Let's check in on that with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, you're looking at Jan Leedy. I hope you're looking at Jan Leedy, who is going to relieve drive for Tony Hirschman. As you mentioned, at Richmond just a couple of weeks ago, Tony hit the wall coming off turn 4 and fractured his sternum. You can probably explain to the people more about that, but he's in a lot of pain. He's starting the race for Winston Modified Tour points, but as soon as he can, he's getting out, letting Jan Leedy drive.
Indeed, he is, Benny Parsons, and there's the car number 1 with Tony Hirschman aboard. Now, Tony finished third in the points last year, is currently 6th in the points, and the man he's given up the car to, Jan Leedy, the 30-year-old driver from Williamson, New York, who has a couple of second-place finishes here. There's Tony Hirschman, a good look at the young 33-year-old Northampton, Pennsylvania driver. And he did fracture his sternum, and basically his injury was very similar to what happened to Neil Bonnet at Dover, Delaware a year ago. The sudden stop and the seat belts retained him, and he got a crack there in the sternum.
Looks like the lights are off on the pace car going up the back straightaway, and we're going to be ready for green flag.
It is a tight racetrack, 2 long straightaways, 2 very, very tight turns, and the wide open-wheel modified cars put on one whale of a show. Jeff Fuller, at 33 years of age, the Auburn, Massachusetts driver, will lead him down. The Superior Process Chevrolet out of turns 3 and 4. Waiting for that green flag. Field now, 30 cars strong, 15 rows, 2 by 2. They come for the green.
Fuller gets a tremendous jump off the start and leads him down into turn 1. I'll tell you, he's ready to go today.
The thundering herd rumbles by in lap number 1 here at Martinsville Speedway. And there is Satch Worley, the car number 07, starting back in the pack. Now, he did not get a single lap of practice in this car. This is the car he used to drive a couple of years ago prior to moving in with Bob Garbarino and running the full tour. This car is maintained by Wayne Speedy Thomas, just about 10 minutes from the racetrack in Fieldale, Virginia. The car was scheduled to be driven by Jimmy Spencer. And Satch now taking his time to try to get the feel of the car and begin to make his move in on the car number 5 in front of him. That is the Bobby Hutchins car, one of the Southern Modified drivers. Satch has put on one whale of a show thus far in the tour races. He's had some excellent runs. He finished 7th here in the opener, finished 6th in Thompson, Connecticut, 12th at Richmond, and 8th last week at Stafford Springs.
Looks like Satch is going to work that outside groove to the front. He's made a couple strong moves on the outside. Looking real good here in the early going.
Jimmy Spencer had told Satch trying to help him prior to qualifying, so Satch didn't get in practice, but the car was pushing pretty badly here. Now, the car does seem to be moving up a little bit in the turn.
Well, if he gets the right line getting down in the corner, Satch is able to get the car cut. But when you got to work traffic, you got to be able to go where the other guy isn't. And so far, he's made a couple passes and looking pretty good so far.
Let's go back up front. The lead car, of course, right where he started, Jeff Fuller showing the way here. And what a performance Jeff Fuller put on, as Benny Parsons alluded to, in the race here last month. He had to go to the rear twice, picked his way through the field, and that's not an easy thing to do here at Martinsville.
Not at all. With these tight corners, it makes it extremely hard to pass. And I was here at that race, and Jeff was working extremely well on the outside. But yet here today, we see him working that low lane awful strong, and Mike Stefanik's the one up on the high side.
Mike Stefanik, who won this race a year ago, is the defending NASCAR Winston Modified Tour champion in the car number 15. A lot of these cars showing the red colors. Now, the car number 8, that is Jeff Fuller. 15 is Stefanik. The car number 36, that is Mike Iwanitsko, who started outside the front row and has now been passed by the defending series champion, Stefanik. Back in the car number 21 in 4th spot, that is the veteran George Kent out of Horsehead, New York, in the yard-bearing Southern New England X Chevrolet. Pretty good battle heating up back there for fourth spot is the car number 76, Tom Bowles. Tommy Bowles, a 29-year-old Connecticut driver. That is an Eagle talent, we are told. They own a Jeep Eagle dealership, he and his father, and that's the white car with the blue number 76 on the side. He was moving in a little bit on George Kent. And again, up in turn 3, he tries to hug that inside groove. There's not a lot of room in that at all.
Not at all, but it looks like Tommy Bowles is just a little bit better than George Kent. Right in the middle of the corner, right dead in the center, and he gains a little bit right there. But Kent awful strong down the straightaways. That Southern New England egg car has got an awful strong engine in it today for George Kent.
You got to wonder, Brett, what's the strategy here? You know you're not going to get a tire change unless something drastic happens which you don't want. You're not going to have a fuel stop. Should you conserve it early on, take care of the rubber?
Well, you really need to just settle in on a pace here. I think everybody was wondering what kind of a pace Jeff Fuller was willing to set. It looks like Jeff is just willing to set out there and lead, not run away, but just set out there far enough so that nobody can challenge him. I think he's running a smart race.
Here's the battle for 7th spot, the car number 12, Mike McLaughlin, the 1988 Tour champion, being challenged by Doug Hevron, driving the car number 3. That's the Lenny Bowler fielded car for Hevron. That's the blue and yellow numeral car number 3. Hevron has run pretty well for Lenny Bowler this year. He qualified that car in 5th spot. And right now he is in the 8th position as McLaughlin now making his way toward the front.
Well, you know, Mike has slipped back a little bit from Reggie Ruggiero, and Doug Hevron trying to just pick a spot where he might be fine. It looks like McLaughlin's car's a little bit too tight up off the corner, doesn't want to cut real well for him, and he's sliding up just a small amount. And Hevron looking to the bottom side, a real good battle there.
Mike McLaughlin did not start the first 2 Tour events of the year, but has finished second in both at Richmond and Stafford Springs the past 2 events. Of course, the former Tour champion, it tells me that he may be making a move into the Busch Series to run 10 or 11 races later in the year. Back up front now, car number 15, Mike Stefanik, running in the 2nd spot. Stefanik now trying to reel in Fuller. Fuller said he would be strong prior to the qualifying today. He is indeed true to his word. Let's take a look at the top 10 here. Of course, Jeff Fuller showing the way. Mike Stefanik in the chase, as is Iwanitsko, George Kennan, Tommy Bowles. Take a look at 6 through 10. We'll be back with more.
What?
Let's take a look, Brett.
Well, it looks like Bob Park was trying to get under the 01 of Philip Smith, and he just got pinched down onto the curb and then lost control as he hit the curb, and Gary Myers had nowhere to go and made contact with Bob as he slid up the racetrack.
Gary Myers able to continue. That was the black car with the red number 14 on the side, and there is Bob Park, a veteran driver from East Northport, New York, and it looks like the front tires are a little out of kilter. It towed in somewhat?
Yeah, it does. It looks like the front end is sustained some damage in the suspension.
And let's check in with Benny Parsons on driver change. This is a break for Tony Hurst, we mentioned a moment ago, got the fractured sternum. He gets out of the car. Jan Leedy is preparing to climb in. Now he has put on the belt, the shoulder harness, the seat belt, and also plug in the radio before he can go back out. A lot of time because the pace car, that about half the field went by the start-finish line. They're putting up the window net. Leedy taking his time, making sure that the belts are tight. As you mentioned, these are rocket ships down the straightaway. Absolute rocket ships. You want those belts as tight as you can possibly get them.
Well, how difficult is it to make a driver change? These cars are tough to get in and out of anyway. Well, it sure is, Jerry. These cars are very small in the driver cockpit area, and it does make for a tough driver change because nobody can actually get in the window and help you. You've got to kind of do everything yourself, as you saw there. He had to put the steering wheel back on by himself and get everything hooked up. Did a great job, though, and got out with no problem without losing a lap.
This will be a break for Tony Hurst when he is currently 6th in the point standings, and after this race today, they have a 3-week off period prior to going back to Stafford Springs, Connecticut on May 25th. We are under caution here at Martinsville Speedway early on in the Raven Boats 150, and Jeff Fuller leads the field.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Stewart. You know, if things go well, 21 million Americans will be added to the workforce by the year 2000. We'll need more energy for housing, transportation, offices, manufacturing. If we don't develop our own energy resources, we'll be over-dependent again on unstable foreign sources. It takes time to develop and produce energy. Well, let's start now.
For more information, write the Jefferson Energy Foundation.
Don't drink and drive.
Back in Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, we are still under caution. We just had a driver change a moment ago. Let's check in with our Benny Parsons.
Thank you very much, sir. Tony, how are you feeling?
Be all right. I could have went a little further yet, but there was no sense to chance it. You know, we were in a good spot running up front. I could have stayed out there longer, but I don't want to take a chance of getting hurt again. We got 3 more weeks off after this, and I should be 100% by then.
Okay, we're going to see green flag. Go watch your car.
That was Tony Hirschman who's climbed out of the car number 1, and Dan Levy, the veteran driver, is in that car, hoping to keep Hirschman up in the points battle. Right now, the battle is up front, as now Mike Stefanik, by virtue of the restart, is able to pull up on the rear deck of Jeff Fuller, and looks like Stefanik has a little muscle.
Well, he looks awful good off the green flag on the restart, but Fuller's awful strong off that 4th turn, and he's down to the front straightaway, starting to pull away just a little bit.
Jeff Fuller, who has been on the pole here 3 or 4 times, he told me, in the past couple of 3 years. He's always qualifies well here, but seems to have trouble at Martinsville. Of course, we mentioned early in the year, in the opener a month ago, he went to the rear of the field twice and fought his way back through lap traffic to finish second to Reggie Ruggiero. It's a battle of a couple of young men who have traded a little bit of Nerf barring over the years. The 07 of Sat Worley moving inside of Jay Hedcock. Sat Worley here in Virginia. Hedcock from High Point, North Carolina.
Sat is trying awful hard to get around Jay and working the low side of the racetrack. Now, earlier we saw him working the high side, and now he's trying to get underneath Jay and keep that charge going to the front. Makes a good move going into 1, but just can't quite get his car turned to get off that 2nd turn. Jay pulls him down the back straightaway.
They are battling for the 15th spot. The car number 41, Hedcock, is 15th. Worley being shown in the 07 in 16th position. And back here at the car number 7, that is Tom Baldwin in 17th spot.
Tommy Baldwin, always exciting to watch. We saw him coming off the 4th turn. And we've got Dan Levy here on the front straight. Yellow is out. Dan Levy in the car number 1. This relief driving for Tony Hirschman is spun and hit the inside wall.
Well, the Chevrolet Cavalier that Tony Hirschman started now, it sits against the inside retaining wall here on the front straightaway. Dan Levy has looped the car, and although it looked like he didn't hit that hard, sometimes these cars are pretty sensitive, particularly with the steering mechanism.
Yeah, it really is. He backed it in to the inside wall that protects pit road, and he did hit it a pretty good clip, and I think that car's going to be out of competition for the rest of the days. He pulls away, but it's got a lot of damage.
These cars are extremely sensitive with that rack and pinion steering in the front, and now he backs it, puts it in gear. It does a little bit of smoke. Dan Levy getting the car pulled in. Let's take a look, Brad, to see exactly what happened.
He's coming up off the 4th turn, and looks like maybe a little bit of contact was made. And he goes sideways and just got no way to get it stopped before it hits the inside wall.
Looks like Free was a crowd there coming out of turn 4. He had nowhere to go. He probably jammed the brakes on it and got the car a little out of a little squirrely and spun it and tagged the inside wall. There is Dan Levy sitting inside the Universal Joint Sales Chevrolet. We are in the caution once again at Martinsville. Stay tuned. We're back with more modified racing after this.
Out of 10 NASCAR
with 1 tough motor oil. This is the front spring from a Winston Cup and Busch Grand National car. This is the front spring from a modified car. This is what's called a coilover. One reason they use this spring in the modified is weight. This spring weighs 8 or 9 pounds. This spring about 3 pounds. When you start multiplying that by 4 wheels, that's a lot of weight. And the top 10 here in the Raven Boats 150, Jeff Fuller, Mike Stefanik, Mike Iwanisco, George Kidd, and Tommy Bowles in the top 5. 6 through 10, Reggie Ruggiero making his move. Mike McLaughlin, Doug Hebron, good run for Carl Pastriak, and the point leader, Jamie Tomeno, is currently 10th spot. Still under caution here at Martinsville, Virginia, and seeing those springs, Fred, weight is so important in these modified cars.
Well, it certainly is. Weight savings is the key to keep these cars as light as possible so they can put the lead ballast in the car where they need to get the balance of the chassis right. Actually, modified cars are much more comparable to Indy cars. We use a lot of the same technology off of Indy car racing as we do in the modified cars with the coilover type suspensions and the light A-frames and the extremely light rear suspension.
And some of the drivers are experimenting like Tommy Baldwin with the zero scrub cars, meaning just like the Indy cars that the car actually pivots on the pivot point inside the wheel. That's not the car that Baldwin has here, but he's run very well with the car, and that may be the upcoming technology in open wheel competition. The pace car has moved off in the back straightaway. These modified rockets are so quick you don't want to take a chance on the front stretch, and we're back to green flag racing. And Jeff Fuller now leads Mike Stefanik, and Stefanik pulls right on his rear deck. They head for turn 1.
Mike Stefanik is awful strong on the restart. As we see the two front cars pulling away from Mike Wisco now. And Stefanik would probably like to make a move here in a few short laps after the restart, because that's when his car feels the best.
George Kent now trying to make a move inside of Winston. Kent is there, Tommy Bowles is there. Winston seems to be having a little problem. His car not handling, and he's holding Kent and some of those guys up.
He's definitely holding that line of traffic up there. So, oh, it was George Kent. Tommy Bowles spins going into 3. Oh, all kinds of contact over there. Jay Hedgecock up on the wall and up on top of Ricky Fuller.
Jay Hedgecock's car had collided at the car number 41 with the Rick Fuller machine. Rick Fuller in the car number 77. Carl Pastriak in the car number 75 was being shown in the top 10. His car is still sitting there. And there's Harold Kinder pointing and waving the caution flag feverishly. Heavy contact in turn 3. And a couple of cars trying to make a move, and the bumpers came together, and the guys jumping the brakes, and these tires, as fast as they're going into turn 3, there's no way to get those things stopped.
No, not at all, Jerry. And as we see the replay here, Mike Wisco was holding the line of traffic up. He braked a little early. George Kent running the back of him, and then Tommy Bowles and Reggie Ruggiero come together, and it spun Bowles to the inside, and that's where all the trouble starts. Once you turn a car sideways, it starts blocking the racetrack. And then the rest of the guys just kind of piled in there in the back, had nowhere to go.
Well, it looks like Bowles in the white number 76 got stopped. Obviously, Ruggiero couldn't see him hit the brake pedal, and they came together. Let's take a look at another angle. The car number 21 is Kent, and he hits Iwanitsko. Now, Bowles gets tagged from behind by Ruggiero. Bowles spins. Ruggiero is in the yellow number 44. He goes high in turn 3, and it all breaks loose behind him. Good move by McLaughlin to get through. The spinning car, there is Fuller, and there is Hitchcock's car climbing up on the front end of Rick Fuller there in turn 3.
Real unfortunate circumstances for those guys, because they were just kind of trapped in that position, couldn't get around Wisco at that point, and it really caused a mess over there in the third turn.
Lisbon, Connecticut driver Carl Pastriak, that was his car you saw just a moment ago. This will take a few moments to get unsorted, get these cars untangled, so we'll take a break here early on in the Raven Boats 150. We are under caution here for the third time this afternoon, and still Jeff Fuller is showing the way. Stay tuned, we'll be back.
The danger and excitement of short track racing. See the Haynes Activewear 500 Sunday afternoon live on ESPN.
They are still working in turn 3 here at Martinsville Speedway. We are under caution still for the third time this afternoon. A major collision in turn 3. A couple of cars trying to get stopped, and they could not get the car stopped, and a number of cars involved. They are working feverishly on pit road. We'll show you what happened again just a couple of laps ago, going up the back straightaway there. Mike Iwanitsko in the car number 36. He's the lead car. Actually, he's running second with the lead in this draft. 21 behind him is George Kent. Tommy Bowles, the white car number 76, and they will all start jumping in the brakes in turn 3. Bowles' car will spin after he is tagged from behind a couple of cars. Now, Reggie Ruggiero makes a good move to go by. The car number 12 of McLaughlin. One car spinning. That is the Fuller car spinning here. Jamie DeMelo spins, and you see up on the top of your screen the car number 77 of Fuller and Hedgecock come together.
That's Jamie Camano in the 2, and he had a run on Carl Pastriak and runs in the back of the number 3 of Doug Hevron as they're all trying to get slowed down. They spin around, and it blocks the track again, and there's Charlie Rudolph running into the Pastriak car, and there's Hedgecock climbing up on top of Ricky Fuller. It's just a real mess over there. It's amazing there wasn't more cars involved, because that's a very fast part of the racetrack, and everybody after the restart was trying to jockey for position.
5 cars in all were heavily damaged. Other cars had some degree of body damage or frame damage. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm with Tom Baldwin Jr., who's the crew chief on Mike Ionisco's car. I saw you change both rear tires. Were you just changing stagger, or do you have a problem?
Well, we picked up a piece of debris from that last caution. Got a right rear flat. We weren't sure which tire it was, so we put rears on.
So you wasn't really aware of which tire it was? So you put both the rear tires?
Right rear was flat. Right rear was flat.
Now, do you think you can start at the rear of the field and pass all these cars to win, or are you just trying to get the best spot you can?
Well, we're going real good today. He's going to try. You know, a lot of cars just got wrecked in that last caution. We'll see what happens. We're going good, though.
Okay, Tommy, good luck.
Thank you.
Mike Iwanitsko dropped from 3rd to 18th spot with that pit stop, and he said they changed 2 tires. The reason being is because they're allowed only a 2-tire change under caution here under the NASCAR rules to help save cost as far as the overall cost of operating a modified division car. We are under caution here at Martinsville Speedway. Lap 41 here in the books of a 150-lap race. The Raven boats 150, and Jeff Fuller leads the way. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Veterans are watching the modified action. Hair-raising, and you saw a moment ago, car-raising action here on the half mile in Martinsville, Virginia. Back to green flag racing. They're mixing it up back in the pack as Jeff Fuller leads the charge out in turn one. Reggie Ruggiero trying to make a move, get on the inside there. That's the yellow car with a black number 44 on the side. Reggie Ruggiero having won here back last month in the opener for the modified tour division, the 200-lapper, now being shown in the 5th spot.
Reggie made a good move under Tommy Bowles on the restart, but had the door shut on him getting into the first turn and had to check up on the brakes, and Mike McLaughlin nearly got by on the outside. There's Jamie Tomeno on the move after that pit stop of being involved in the wreck. He's working his way back up to the field, trying to get caught up to the lead.
Jamie Tomeno, the current point leader in this NASCAR Winston Modified Tour Division, back up front now. Fuller, right where he started, on the point, being chased by Stefanik. Car number 21 is George Kent, and a good run for Tommy Bowles.
Bowles feeling awful racing, gave George Kent a little tap on the back bumper just to say, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to take the spot if you make a mistake. Tommy Bowles looking real good in the early going of this race. I think that he's ready to make a stand and make a charge to the front.
Tom Bowles' best ever career finish at Martinsville came in this race on ESPN a year ago when he finished 6th, so he must like national television.
I believe so. These guys get pretty pumped up when ESPN shows them live on TV. It's a real thrill for themselves to get the coverage, and it's great for the division. This is an outstanding division in NASCAR, and they deserve the coverage.
Tom Bowles now trying to make a move inside the veteran of George Kent. Kent has a little too much muscle coming off the corner. Again, George Kent in the Art Berry prepared car. That's the red and sort of white and blue numeral car number 21. Tom Bowles in the white and blue numeral car number 76. Those cars in 3rd and 4th spot overall. Let's check in on some of the cars that are making their way up through the field. There is Mike Iwanicko trying to get back up toward the front. He is currently in the 11th spot. He's picking them off one by one. And here is Satch Worley now trying to get back toward the front. Satch was being shown in the 14th position. Now he's moved up into the 12th spot. So Satch Worley getting his way to the front, lap by lap, taking his time, picking them off one by one, Brett.
Those guys right there were involved in that wreck, had to make pit stops for tires, and they're making their way back to the front. They're about a quarter to a full straightaway behind the lead pack, but I think you're going to see them catch back up. They'd really like to see another caution right now to kind of get that gap closed up.
Back up front, that battle for 3rd spot now heating up a little bit as Bowles seems to be able to get off the corner, but up in 3 and 4 now. Stefanik is, I said Stefanik was holding him up a little bit, but it looks like Stefanik's car not handling that well in the corner.
Well, Mike Stefanik running in 2nd with George Kent there in the 21 car. George not quite able to keep it on the bottom, and Tommy Bowles has visions of making a pass on the inside lane. Bowles is looking awful strong in the corner right now, but as we can see the cars come up out of the 4th turn, Kent seems to be able to pull way down the straightaway with more horsepower.
George Kent, veteran driver, 40 years of age, multiple track champion over the years. Kent, tremendous career in modified racing, one of the most likable guys on the tour.
We see now that Jeff Fuller has opened up about a 6 to 7 car length lead over Mike Stefanik, and George Kent is right now looking like he might be able to make a challenge to Mike Stefanik for 2nd spot. Fuller having things go his way here in the early going.
They are mixing it up back in the pack, and the car number 63 back here. Car number 36, Iwanicko now coming up inside, or trying to move inside of Jamie Tomeno. Tomeno is the car number 2. And that's the 9th, 10th, and 11th place cars.
Mike Iwanicko making a strong move to the inside of Jamie Tomeno off the 4th turn. As Tom Baldwin Jr. spoke, their car is working extremely well, and I think Iwanicko could be a threat in this race before the day's over with, as well as his car's working on the inside lane.
Mike Iwanicko won here at Martinsville last spring.
Oh, and contact. Winston trying to get inside of Tomato, and they bumped going into the third turn, and Jamie Tomato has spun around trying to get his car out of the way from oncoming traffic.
And the current point leader, Jamie Tomato, has spun his Raven Boat-sponsored Pontiac up out of turn 4. We are under caution once again. He gets the car refired, puts it in reverse, now back in first gear and drives the car away. Let's take a look at what happened once again, Brett.
Winston had got a good jump off the second turn on Jamie, and as they went down into the corner, there just wasn't enough room for both of them to make it. Winston touches the curb. It juts him out into Jamie's left rear tire, and Jamie spins, staying on the throttle there as you see the tire smoke. And Winston just gets by on the outside.
Different angle now. We'll take a look. There is a big yellow concrete curb about 4 inches high on the inside. Winston's trying to get his car to the inside. We'll look at that left front tire, possibly against that curb. Yes, he bumps the curb, shuffles him out, as you said, Brett, and tags Tomato and spins the car around.
It is a real problem here at Martinsville. On most racetracks, you don't have a curbing like that on the inside, and if you get under somebody and there's not quite enough room, you might be able to hang that left side tire down in the dirt and make the pass, but here at Martinsville, it throws you right back out into traffic and contact was made.
Jamie Tomato now making an entry onto pit road. We will expect them to make a tire change. There's Jamie Tomato, 33 years of age, from Howell, New Hampshire, driving the Raven Boats Pontiac, currently shown as the point leader, and they were given the 1-to-go sign that time by, so they will have to hustle here, changing 2 tires as the caution still waving now by Harold Kinder. Apparently they are going to hold up the green flag start and make sure they have checked the track up in turn 4 for debris. A number of cars exiting the pits. That's the car number 12 of Mike McLaughlin, the 07 down there of Satch Worley, and here is Jamie Tomato. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm with Stanley Sabin, who is the crew chief on Mike Stefanik's car. Stanley, you seem to be dropping back just a little bit. You have a problem?
Well, right now, the H&H Racing Gasoline Casella Speed Equipment car is a little loose. We changed the car a lot from the last time we were here, and we thought we had a better setup, but we're not really sure right now. We're going to have to wait and see if it holds out, and hopefully Jeff's pretty strong right now. We're hoping that he's going to start backing up in a little while. That's the only thing we can hope for right now. He's just a little too strong for us.
Do you chance a pit stop on a 150-lap race?
We don't really want to come in unless we start backing up. It's too short a race to come from the back and pass all these cars. Everybody's single file. There ain't no way we're going to come from the back and drive right to the front.
Okay, Jerry, if they got to go in the toolbox, remember, they're in trouble.
And indeed they do, Benny Parsons. You don't want to make too many pit stops here. Of course, that's the crew chief for Mike Stefanik. Mike, the 31-year-old driver, current Tour Series champion. And so we were showing you the nice-looking car of Mike McLaughlin. We got our Mike's mistakes a little bit here. So it's Mike Stefanik here trying to pick up the win like he did a year ago in the Raven Boats 150. Currently chasing. We have Fuller, and they do a little bumping and shoving, and we go back to green flag racing here once again. 61 laps complete. Now 62 as they come by for the green flag. Of the 150 which comprise the Raven Boats event today. Jeff Fuller, so very strong off the corner, pulling some 2 car lanes over to Stefanik, and the other car is single file behind him.
As we see the cars come up out of the second turn to go down the back straightaway, Jeff Fuller's already opened up a 3-car length advantage over Stefanik, and likely Stefanik the same over George Kent as we see for Tommy Bowles looking again to the inside of George Kent. I think Bowles has got a great race car underneath him. He just needs to get by Kent so he can go up there and challenge for the lead. What a move off that second turn he made to get under Kent if he can just hold it going down into the third turn.
29-year-old Tommy Bowles trying to move to the inside, and he saw what happened a little bit ago, so he's very, very careful of that concrete curbing, that white yellow curbing, and just not quite have enough room, and now falls back in line. Don't want to get on the line too long, because Reggie Ruggiero is right there waiting for him to make a mistake.
The veteran Reggie Ruggiero knows that Tommy Bowles is getting impatient with George Kent, and I think Reggie's going to wait to see what Bowles does as far as make a move on Kent and then counter with a move of his own.
Tommy Bowles, his 3rd year on the tour. His first win, only win coming at Jennerstown Speedway back in July of '88. Drivers out of the race, Eddie DeHaan, Jan Leedy, Brian Ross involved in that early accident in turn 3. Carl Pastriak, Rick Fuller, younger brother of our current leader, and Charlie Rudolph, along with the veteran Southern driver, Jay Headstock.
Oh, contact made. Bowles hit the back of George Kent's car down the front straightaway and punctured his right front tire. Everybody's scrambling to get by. It looks like they're going to make it by okay as he's just exploded the right front tire on that number 76.
And now he jams on the brakes so he doesn't spin the car up in traffic, and that car has come to rest just out of turn 2 at the beginning of the back straightaway. Caution now being waved again. We see what's left of that right front car. There are bars to keep these cars from coming together. They call them nurse bars and fenders, but here again, they're running so close, and there is Tom Bowles, the 29-year-old driver, who's having a great run, probably the best run of his career here at Martinsville Speedway. And now he brings that car around to make sure he doesn't lose a lap, and will be making an entry on the pit road.
As we see the replay, Tommy Bowles makes a move under George Kent coming up out of the 4th turn. As they go down the straightaway, it looks like Bowles tries to get back in line, and he makes contact right there with Kent's rear bumper, and it just shreds the right front tire. And Bowles does a great job of keeping the car out of the wall, and the rest of the guys do a great job of avoiding a problem getting into the 1st turn.
We'll look at a different angle. He did an outstanding job. There's a whole line of traffic behind him. He could have taken out a dozen or more race cars. There again, the contact, you see his car skip in the air a little bit. Now the tire begins to come apart. He's on the brakes trying to keep the car straight. Now it begins to turn a little more. And that flattened tire is scrubbing that rubber down into the concrete part of the turn 1 and 2. A good move by Reggie Ruggiero and some of the drivers, Doug Hebron, etc., to get around it. We are under caution here once again at Martinsville Speedway, lap number 68, as Jeff Fuller showing the way, and they will have a lot of work and some fresh rubber waiting on that man as he heads to pit road. Stay tuned, we'll be back. Back at Martinsville Speedway, the top 10 here at 71 of 150 laps complete. Jeff Fuller showing the way, Mike Stefanik, George Kent. Reggie Ruggiero moves in the 4th spot, and Billy Middleton, a good run from Middleton, one of the Southern drivers, in 5th. 6 through 10, Doug Hebron. 7th is Mikey Winitsko, coming all the way from the rear of the field. Keep an eye on Winitsko. Larry Moore, last year's Rookie of the Year. John Hoffman, a good run for him, and Gary Myers in the 10th spot. And just a moment ago, they held the car number 76 in the pits. That's a Tom Bowles car. They held him a lap. Brett, why was it for?
Well, Tommy had the flat tire there and stopped coming off the 2nd turn. Of course, he needed a caution to keep him going a lap down, and so he stops on the racetrack to get NASCAR to throw a caution flag for him, and then goes ahead and starts his car back up and catches the rear of the field so he can make a pit stop and change the tire. NASCAR just penalizing for causing a caution when it wasn't necessary.
And he will be able to move back up on the outside for the restart and try to get that lap back. We're getting ready to go green. He has a fresh tire on the right side. He is currently 5th in the point standings, and the green flag waves, and he will fall in line behind the current leader, Jeff Fuller.
Tommy Bowles sitting in 2nd place there, position on the racetrack is a lap down to the leader, and Mike Stefanik trying to get around him so he can go up and challenge Jeff Fuller for the lead.
Looks like Bowles' car not working at all, and he gets a serious tap from Mike Stefanik now out of turn 4.
Yes, Bowles is really holding up Stefanik, and Mike's just telling him with that front bumper of his, hey, man, you're holding me up. Let's give me some room so I can get by.
Sort of like call waiting, I guess, to let you know you're there. And I think Tommy Bowles is probably going to get the message here pretty soon, because this is really giving Jeff Fuller a significant advantage. You see the Fuller now is pulled away by some 6 car lengths over the 2nd and 3rd place cars.
Tommy Bowles is extremely loose off the corner with that fresh right front tire. Now the back of his car doesn't have the traction. The front does, making the car loose.
Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, one thing they did when they changed the right front tire, they put on a brand new tire, a sticker tire. And who knows if that tire is getting the grip. I don't think it's getting the grip yet. It will in a few laps. But as Harold Kendrick gives the halfway signal, those guys behind don't have many laps to wait on it for that tire to come in.
That is indeed the case, and Mike Stefanik is waiting there behind Tommy Bowles. These cars are really bunching up in behind there. Now they're starting to close up a little bit on Jeff Fuller.
Yes, you see Bowles a little wiggly off the 2nd turn, but they are gaining a little bit on Jeff Fuller. Bowles' car really driving the car deep into the corners, trying to make up that pressure penalty loss, having that new tire on the right front.
Well, this may not be a bad move for Bowles. He can stay up there and possibly get around Fuller and get a yellow flag and get his lap back.
Well, he's got an awful strong car, and he could be a contender if he can get his lap back.
Here's the Billy Middleton and Doug Hebron battle, and that's Mikey Winitsko. Middleton is the car number 46. The blue car is Doug Hebron. The Lenny Bowler prepared car number 3. And back to the outside, the car number 36, Mikey Winitsko. He's involved in that early crash, made a pit stop, and now Hebron and Winitsko trying to make a move inside of Middleton, who is the 5th place car.
Doug Hebron looking real good on that inside move around Billy Middleton, and Winitsko coming all the way from the back of the pack is slowly making a charge back towards the front.
Winston trying to make his way back to the front. Good run for Doug Hebron. Hebron currently now being shown in the 5th spot. Winston now trying to sneak a pick to the inside of Hebron. Mikey Winston, who won here last spring in the 200 lapper in the Spring Classic at Martinsville. I asked Mikey Winston this morning how he gets in a race car. He's a huge guy. From mid, I asked him if he ever play any ball or any sports. And he was quite an athlete in high school. Played a lot of sports, and he is about 6'2", about 230 pounds, and gets in one of these cars and drives it like a heavyweight.
He is right now. He's putting a lot of pressure on Dougie Hebron. Pushed him right down the front straightaway the last lap. Tried to make a move underneath him coming off the 4th turn, but can't quite get the traction down there to make a move on Doug.
A couple of cars in front of him are dicing it up a little bit. Reggie Ruggiero being shown in the 4th spot. He is trying to move in on the veteran George Kent.
It looks like Hebron and Uniwisco are chasing down that pack of George Kent and Reggie Ruggiero. I think this is going to be a great 4-car battle once they get together.
We have seen some great modified racing throughout the first 4 events of the year here on the NASCAR Winston Tour. I think that today could be no different, and they are really closing. Ruggiero trying to move in on George Kent now out of turn 4.
George Kent shown in the 3rd position, Reggie Ruggiero in 4th, Doug Hebron in 5th, and Mikey Uniwisco in 6th. A great battle trying to get into the top 5.
Seems to get a little bit of momentum there, and you get a slower car on the inside. It's so difficult to pass here. Where is the opportunity to pass in Martinsville?
Well, the key is getting up off the corner. As we've seen everybody try to make a move on the low side coming off the corner, but not able to make the pass. But that's where the key in this racetrack is. You've got to be able to get back in the throttle, to drive up underneath someone down the straightaway, and then go ahead and complete the pass in the next corner.
They are staying pretty close in contact with the lead duo. We will show you now the lead cars. Of course, there is Jeff Fuller leading the way. Tom Bowles, the lap car, is the white car behind him. And there is the battle 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Kent, Ruggiero, Hebron, and then let's go. Take a look up front, and there is Jeff Fuller now. He won here last October. Biggest win of his young career in modified racing. And he has planked that car on the pole again and shown the way ever since the green flag was dropped.
George Kent now starting to stretch it out just a little bit on Reggie Ruggiero. I don't know if Reggie has pulled back a little bit, maybe a little bit of an overheating problem or something, but Kent has got a little daylight between him and Ruggiero. Maybe he can concentrate now and try to chase down those front 2.
And Winston getting a little bit impatient back there. Had a bumper inside of Doug Hebron out of turn 2. 22-year-old West Hempstead, New York driver, Mikey Winston, cut his teeth up at Riverhead and Islip Speedways.
The real bull rings on the modified circuit. That Long Island circuit is known for the bull ring racing and the great drivers that it has produced here.
So he should know how to pass them in the tight corners, and he's trying to really work over a guy who is no slouch whatsoever, Doug Hebron, coming from the super modified ranks and some of the sprint cars he has been so successful in over the years. They are battling for the 5th spot.
There's Jamie Camano trying to make a move on Billy Middleton. Jamie has caught Billy, chased him down, and now trying to work him over.
Billy Middleton being shown in the 7th spot in the car number 46. 60 laps to go in the current point leader, Jamie Camano, out of Howell, New Jersey. When I said New Hampshire a little earlier, he is from New Jersey in that Raven Boat-sponsored Pontiac. And back up front now, Mike Stefanik has finally been able to get around Tommy Bowles and see if he can reel in Jeff Fuller. There is Fuller, the lead car, the car number 8, his Superior Process Chevrolet. And now we'll see Stefanik in the right of your screen. That's the car number 15, the H&H Racing Fuel Chevrolet for Mike Stefanik. And now heavy traffic in front of Fuller. That may be to Stefanik's advantage.
Jeff Fuller caught in a little bit of lap traffic there, and looks like just Mike Stefanik is trying to reel him in, taking advantage of that lap traffic and closing the ground a little bit.
I tell you, Fuller hasn't missed a beat. I thought he might slow up with a couple of cars, but he just zoomed around him and just kept right on going. I guess the nature of the modified drivers with the tight courses up in the New England area, you get very accustomed running maybe 3 or 4 inches apart with these wide tires.
Oh, yeah, you really do. You get real used to running with open wheels and everything. Some of the tracks in the Northeast are very small, and these guys develop great reflexes running these over 600 horsepower cars on the tight racetracks.
Well, Stefanik's a former track champion up at Stafford Springs and also up at Riverside Park in Agawam, Massachusetts. But there's the man that they're all chasing right now, Jeff Fuller, showing the way, the 33-year-old driver in the car number 8. We are 96 laps here, over halfway through in the Raven Boats 150. Stay tuned, we'll be back. The 100 lap mark. We are showing now 102 laps complete to be exact. And there's the man they're chasing, Jeff Fuller. His best 1990 finish coming earlier this year, in fact last month here at Martinsville behind Reggie Ruggiero. And the fellow who is chasing Fuller right now, the defending Tour champion and the defending winner of last year's Raven Boats 150, Mike Stefanik, in the car number 15. Stefanik, who has been able to stay in second spot but has not been able to reel in the strong car of Jeff Fuller. Back in third spot, George Kent now. A good battle for third spot is Kent and Reggie Ruggiero. Kent, the car number 21, and Reggie Ruggiero, the veteran modified driver who won here last month in that yellow and black numeral car number 44. And behind them, that's the lap car of Tom Bowles. Next car in line, the 5th place car, will be the car number 3 of Doug Hevron, the Lenny Bowler prepared car. And then Mike Iwanitsko in the car number 36 is the 6th place car. They work around the outside of the Bowles car, which is a lap down. We might mention for a lot of you Mike McLaughlin fans that he has retired his car number 12 here just a few laps ago.
Doug Hevron having a great run in Lenny Bowler's car. We've got a spin up in the 3rd and 4th turn.
That is Larry Moore, who has looped it up there, Brett, in turn 4. The 1989 Rookie of the Year for the NASCAR Winston. Whoa, he gets the car right in front of a couple of cars. And Billy Middleton does a whale of a job to miss the car of Larry Moore. Larry Moore, a 37-year-old driver from Farmington, Connecticut.
You see Larry Moore's car there on the front straightaway a moment ago. It looks like he has a right rear flat, sure enough, right on the wheel.
And that's why he's such a great driver. What eyes you got, I tell you, seeing that right rear tire, and he has brought the car to a halt here on the front straightaway. Caution flag is out, and he will make his way back to the pits. Let's take a look at the top right of your screen, and you will see Larry Moore's car there, just out of turn 3 and 4, looping it around, and he gets the car stopped and trying not to lose a lap. He was running in the 11th spot. He gets the car fired, back in gear, and he pulls out right in front of Jamie Tomeno and the 3 or 4 Billy Middleton other cars as they make that evasive move up high. That's what Jamie needed, was another crash here. He's trying to win the point championship, currently leading here, and now he has to avoid another spinning car. And Larry Moore in his car in the pits, and yes, we are under caution once again. We're going to wear Harold Kinder's arm completely out before tomorrow's Winston Cup race. Stay tuned. Jeff Fuller is leading here at Martinsville. Martinsville Speedway under caution still here for the 5th time today. Jeff Fuller having a great run. Let's check in with Benny Parsons, who's standing by with Fuller's crew chief, Brad LaFontaine.
Brad, these caution flags, every time you get a little bit of a lead, a caution flag comes out and right back on your bumper. Yeah, it seems that way. We just get out front and people get to close it right up on us, but I think we're feeling pretty comfortable out there, and I think we'll be able to take a lead again, and hopefully a little lady luck will be with us for a change. We've had a little tough luck this year so far, and we're going to hope for the best. You better watch it. He's down in turn 1 on the green.
And Stefanik is right on his rear deck, Benny Parsons. That's not what Fuller wanted to see, but it's what Stefanik wanted, and he tries to make a move, but Fuller is still very, very strong.
He sure is, but it's just Mike Stefanik. His car's a little bit loose, so on a restart, his car will be a little bit better with the cold tires, and he's going to try everything he can to get by him here quickly after the caution flag has gone away.
Fuller jumps back in the throttle out of turn 2 and pulls him a couple of car lengths. It seems like Stefanik able to reel him in turn 3 and 4. Winston Modified Tour Racing here for the NASCAR open wheel cars. Their 5th stop of the year here at Martinsville, Virginia. They have run here as the opener of the year, won by Reggie Ruggiero. The man who is currently leading, Jeff Fuller, finished 2nd in that race. They went up to Thompson, Connecticut for the Icebreaker, won by Tony Hirschman. Went to Richmond and Rick Fuller, Jeff Fuller's younger brother, won that race up there, took home almost $18,000. And last week, Mike Stefanik, the guy who is chasing Fuller right now in the car number 15, and a former Stafford Motor Speedway track champion, won that event with the Spring Sizzler. Take a look back in the 7th spot. Car number 46, Billy Middleton, getting a good move off of the turn. Middleton leading a couple of cars. Jamie Tomato.
Now, Jamie Tomato made a pit stop on that last caution. He's got some fresh tires on, and he has just made a tremendous start in the back up to chase down Billy Middleton. Jamie's car is looking like it's really hooked up on those fresh tires, trying to get as many positions as he can as the laps start winding down here at Martinsville.
Let's take a look at Jamie Domeno's car. Really pushing the car to get up through traffic.
He sure is, as he gets into the back of Charlie Rudolph up off the second turn, gives him a little shot in the back end and almost spins Rudolph out.
Jamie Domeno is flying back up into the 8th position. And here's another battle. Mike Iwanitsko trying to move around the 5th place car of Doug Hebron. Hebron is the blue and yellow numeral car number 3. Iwanitsko, the car number 36. That is 5th and 6th.
Hebron running a great line through the corners. You can see his car working extremely well. Very smooth, and Iwanitsko trying everything to catch back up to get by, but Dougie's having a great run today.
There's Iwanitsko. Hebron driving for famed car builder Lenny Bowler. It's sort of like a who's who among the drivers who have driven that car for Lenny Bowler. Bugsy Stevens, Freddie DeSaro, Ron and Kenny Bouchard, Leo Clary, and Mike McLaughlin, all a listing of drivers who have been in that car number 3.
They've won races in that car. That car is just seems to be capable of winning races wherever it goes. And Lenny's quite a colorful guy and a very talented crew chief and mechanic in the modified division.
There's Doug Hebron in the 5th place. Mike Iwanitsko in 6th position. He is certainly a rising star here in these modified ranks. They are about 3 or 4 cars just out on the left of your picture. That was the 4th place car, Reggie Ruggiero. The car is really single file, but Iwanitsko is really giving Hebron all he can handle out of turn 4.
Sure is. Mike looking to the inside of Doug down the front straightaway. It looks like Doug's car has picked up a slight push right in the center of the corner, and he's not able to get the car turned well enough to get off the corner strong, and Iwanitsko has thoughts of getting on the inside.
The white car you see just making a move into the screen to the right side. That's Tom Bowles, who is a lap down. He was one of the quicker cars early on, but getting involved with a spin, he cut a tire, made an unscheduled pit stop. He's a lap down, but still one of the quicker cars on the racetrack.
He sure is. He was in a great position to have a great run earlier, and unfortunately had that flat tire took him out of the game.
There's the leader, Jeff Fuller, who's been chasing him. Fuller having a great day here, picking up where he left off last fall when he won the Fall Winston Classic here at Martinsville. And Benny Parsons, Jeff, is having just an outstanding day today.
Jerry Bunchy sure is, and it's not anybody any happier than his owner, Jack Newser from Framingham, Massachusetts. I was talking to him earlier in the day, and he said about 7 or 8 years ago he had a successful metal plating business up there. He told his wife, look, either I got to get me a race car or a girlfriend, because I'm about to go crazy. His wife said, have fun at the racetrack. Today's a glorious day for him.
Indeed it is, and certainly they've got to be proud of that young man right now. Jeff Fuller showing the way in his Chevrolet.
Mike Iwanitsko really putting the pressure on Doug Hebron, pushing him all the way down the front straightaway. He wants by Dougie awful bad. I think Iwanitsko, after making the early pit stop with fresh tires, he's really strong at this point in the race and could make a run at the leaders if this would ever get by Doug Hebron, who's running a great race.
Laps are winding down. Iwanitsko knows that he's going to try to make a move here as we look at the top 10 here after 126 laps. Jeff Fuller showing the way. Stefanik, Kent, Ruggiero, and Hebron. Stay tuned. A lot of action to come your way in the final lap here at Martinsville. Back in Martinsville, Virginia, Jeff Fuller still showing the way here as we have a car spinning down in turn 1.
Charlie Rudolph with the ADAP sponsor's machine. Looks like he got down over the inside curve and spun and is debris up on the racetrack.
Charlie
Right
Rudolph.
there, flat tire, I believe, on that car.
Car cutting a tire and looping around, coming to rest up in turn one. The 32-year-old Ransomville, New York driver. The car is maintained by his dad, Jim Rudolph. His name will be familiar to a lot of people who are Winston Cup fans. Charlie ran 5 Winston Cup races a couple of years ago and grew up around the Buffalo area. Former dirt track driver up there and ran so well at Lancaster Speedway in the western New York area. While we're under caution, we might mention this has been a very, very difficult week for many of the open-wheel competitors of NASCAR. The motorsports community was truly saddened last week when 29-year-old Tonawanda, New York driver Tony Jenkowiak was fatally injured at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. On lap 153, his car contacted another and veered into the air, striking the concrete wall head-on. After a successful short-track career at Lancaster Speedway in western New York, Jenkowiak was beginning his first full year on the NASCAR Modified Tour in the Bill Potts owned Chevrolet. All of us here at ESPN extend our deepest sympathies to the Jenkowiak family. Tony was a rising star and will certainly be missed. We might also mention that earlier this week, the president and CEO for NASCAR, Bill France Jr., was injured in a boating accident in Florida, in fact, just south of Daytona Beach at Ponce Inlet on a fishing boat, and apparently the boat jumped on top of a swell there, maybe in some rough seas. He was thrown into the air, came down, and as the boat was coming back up, apparently he contacted the deck of the boat and broke both ankles, and dislocated and fractured both ankles, underwent surgery Wednesday night at Halifax Hospital Medical Center. Noted orthopedist down there operated on Bill France, and of course we are told he is still in the hospital, awake and alert, and conducting official NASCAR business from his hospital bed. He's expected to recover completely. It may be 3 or 4 months, according to some of the reconstructive surgery that he underwent there from the orthopedist Gilbert Martin, but we are told he will recover completely. And we are also told he has been warned by some of his officials in Daytona that he needs to stay off the fishing boats and stay near the racetrack where it's safe. We'll show you the point standings here of this NASCAR Modified Tour. Jamie Tomeno currently leading the way here in the Modified point standings. Rick Fuller, after his win at Richmond, showing in second spot. Satch Worley in third. George Kent is fourth. And Tommy Bowles, who ran so well early on but then got a lap down, is in the fifth spot. Top 10 cars here in the Raven Boats 150. Jeff Fuller showing the way. Mike Stefanik still in the hunt. George Kent is there. Reggie Ruggiero, Doug Hebron, and 6 through 10. Stay tuned. We'll be back. In Martinsville Speedway here in Martinsville, Virginia, 14 laps to go. It should be a sprint race to the checkered flag. Jeff Fuller, who's set on the pole, has been holding him off, but now Stefanik, George Kent, Ruggiero, Hebron, and Iwanitsko are right in line behind him. 136 laps complete. It'll be 13 to go this time by. Green flag waving here at Martinsville.
Oh, and Stefanik faltered on the restart and lost a tremendous amount of ground to Fuller, bunching the field up behind him.
And that was a costly move for Stefanik. That Fuller is now been able to pull away some 4 or 5 car lengths, and Tommy Bowles up there trying to get that lap back.
Tommy Bowles goes around the outside of the leader and gets his lap back. If we could get a yellow, Bowles could come back around to the back of the field and possibly make a charge here in the late stages of the Raven Bowl 150.
Now Stefanik moving around some of the slower traffic. That's the Satch Worley car you saw a moment ago, the 07 that Stefanik had gone by. On the inside there to the right of your screen is Satch Worley. And the 44 car, the veteran Reggie Ruggiero, along with George Kent. Kent, 40 years of age. Ruggiero, the veteran driver, at 38 years of age.
And Jamie Tomeno now is making a charge, and he's catching that battle for third and fourth between Kent and Ruggiero. Jamie Tomeno having a great run. He made a late pit stop and charging from the back of the field.
And Tomeno seems to be one of the quicker cars on the racetrack. He is gone. He's dispensed with Iwanitsko and Hebron, and currently being shown in the second spot. And now Tom Bowles on the inside, and Fuller has to ride high, and that will be the break for Stefanik in turns 3 and 4.
Tommy Bowles is slowed up and let Mike Stefanik catch our leader as they go into the first turn. Keeping Jeff Fuller on the outside lane, and Stefanik is right there waiting for a mistake from Fuller to possibly get by for the win.
Jeff Fuller had to hug the Nerf bars on the Tommy Bowles car to try to not give any openings for Stefanik. Less than 10 laps to go here in Martinsville. Now Fuller jumps back in the throttle and pulls some 3 car lengths over Stefanik, but he narrows to 2 car lengths out of turn 2.
Stefanik doing everything he can to close that gap on Fuller. It seems like Fuller is a little stronger down the straightaway since Stefanik able to close up right in the middle of the corner.
Jeff Fuller looking for his first Tour win of the 1990 season. Hoping to get it here in Martinsville in grand style. There's the battle back in the pack. Third, fourth, and fifth place. George Kemp, the car number 21. You see the top 5 cars together. The white car in the middle is the lap car of Bowles. To the left of your screen is Fuller and Stefanik, the front 2 cars. Then comes the lap car of Bowles, then Kemp, Ruggiero, and a challenging Jamie Tomeno.
With less than 6 laps to go, Stefanik will not give up in trying to chase down Jeff Fuller.
That's the battle back to the right for third spot. Fuller so very, very strong. 5 laps to go. That time by. Coming out of turn 2 now, the separation. Looks to be a 2-car battle for the win. Ruggiero trying to find a way underneath George Kemp there for the third spot. And Fuller just still pulling away by 3 car lengths or more out of turn 4. What a strong engine Fuller has in that car.
Fuller, a tremendous amount of horsepower. He leads Stefanik off the second turn. Stefanik doing everything he can, getting a little sideways coming off the second turn. Trying to chase down the leader, Jeff Fuller. With 3 laps to go now, Fuller pulls out to about a 5-car length advantage.
I asked Jeff Fuller where he learned to qualify so well earlier today. He said, well, with 6 brothers and 2 sisters, you learn to be awfully quick, particularly around mealtime.
I could imagine.
That's paid off pretty well. A great run for Jeff Fuller.
Ruggiero has tried to pick a spot where he can get by George Kemp, but Kemp's car seems to get better as the laps wind down. The longer they run, the stronger the Kemp's car gets, and Ruggiero having trouble even hanging on to Kemp now.
They don't want to make a move to possibly cost them a good finish here, and most importantly, those valuable NASCAR Winston points on the Tour. George Kemp currently 4th in the point standing. Ruggiero is 7th. White flag here for Jeff Fuller. He's set on the pole. Qualifying effort for Jeff Fuller at almost 99 miles an hour. Comes out of turn 4, and Harold Kinder waves the checkered flag, and he is waving in the car. 33-year-old Jeff Fuller from Auburn, Massachusetts, takes the Superior Process Chevrolet to victory lane. A great run for Fuller, a dominating run today for Fuller.
Fuller just had the dominating car all weekend here at Martinsville and was able to capitalize with a pole position and go on and lead every lap of the race. Jeff, a very deserving driver. He had a great run here in the spring race at Martinsville and just couldn't come up with a win. Today he did.
The crew very happy there. Brad LaFontaine, the crew chief, and all the Fuller crew excited about getting that win here in dominating fashion at Martinsville, Virginia. We'll be back with more from the Raven Boats 150 after this.
The Ford Probe. For the best times in your life.
Man, what a day. I could sure use a vacation.
Yeah, I'd like to be right in here.
Ice cold, bud.
Hey, maybe tomorrow we should bring the boss.
Nah.
If you've always wanted a vacation at an authentic mountain resort, we invite you to our city, Nashville, North Carolina. It will lift your spirit.
The same battery that has started 9 out of 10 NASCAR winners since 1977. Also starts millions of cars all over America every day. Die Hard. More power when you need it most.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, Martinsville, Virginia, the Raven Boats 150 is history, and they are smiling down in victory lane. Let's go down for the road handler victory lane interview with Benny Parsons.
Hey, this guy's not, you're not happy, are you, Jeff Fuller?
Oh, maybe just a little bit, you know. That was a great race. This car was handling so good, I'll tell you what. Car stayed right on the curb, right down at the bottom. I couldn't have asked for any better handling car than this one.
Well, why? I mean, you haven't had a victory all year. All of a sudden, the car is just absolutely perfect. Is it something about this racetrack, or have you learned something the last couple of weeks?
Well, Martinsville's always been good to me. We've run down here quite a bit. We've had quite a good finish, quite a bit of good finishes. Last time we were down here about a month ago, we finished second, coming from the back twice. I think them tars, is that what you call them, Benny? Tars? Them Goodyear tars?
Yeah, them tars.
When we got down here, I walked over to that tire truck and I said,
no, tar.
No, yeah, tar. How do you spell that? I walked over.
T-R.
T-R?
T-A-R.
Oh, T-A-R, tar. I says, I need some tars. You know, I says, I need some tires. They didn't know what I was talking about. I says, oh, I'm sorry. Some tars.
when you said the new exact way, but I walked by some cars on the way over to Victory Lane. I saw some blister tires. You didn't have any problem at all today?
No, if you were a little bit off on the setup, as well as you know, I mean, you got to be right on the setup, and my tires look great. I just took a quick look at them, and they look real good. No blister spots, no nothing. Goodyear did a good job with them.
You know, your guys ran over to Victory Lane with a jack. Now, what's that all about? I mean, is the car too low, or what's the problem?
No, you know, you're playing dumb now. They measured the stagger. See, on a modified, not like those cars that you drove there, on a modified, the stagger is really critical. If you're up a quarter-inch one way or the other, the car will either push or it'll be loose. We had a setup here that was real good, and this team is so good that they want to find out exactly what was in the car, so when we come back here in the fall, they can repeat.
Car? What is that?
No, it's a car.
Thank you very much.
C-O-R-E.
There you go. Jeff, great. Hey, you know, I talked about Jack Newsy, your car owner, and he told his wife that he either had to go in the racing business or get a girlfriend. She said, have fun at the racetrack. He had some fun today, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got her with her. He's got to behave.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, he's not happy at all down there, BP. And, of course, BP, oh, gracious, they giving him a little bit of static. From Ellaby, they call them cars, I guess, and I guess up in Auburn, Massachusetts, they call them tires. But they're the rubber things that kept the car on the track all day. And certainly, in dominating fashion, Jeff Fuller takes the win. Let's take a look at the top 15 finishers. There is Clay Campbell getting the celebration going in Victory Lane. Jeff Fuller takes the win. Mike Stefanik finishes in second spot. The veterans George Kent and Reggie Ruggiero in third and fourth. Jamie Tomino coming back after dodging a number of bullets all day, finishing in fifth spot. Doug Hebron, the Lenny Bowler car in sixth. Mike Iwanitsko coming back from the rear in seventh. Billy Middleton eighth. Philip Smith ninth. John Hoffman in 10th. And 11 through 15, Myers, Bowles, Larry Moore, S.J. Avancian, and Tony Ferrante. A great afternoon here for Jeff Fuller, the young driver who had an outstanding day. We'll be back after this.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clean for you.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and Beechwood aged for over 110 years.
This Bud's for you.
They got the green flag at Daytona. Roaring through Talladega, left Darlington in the dust. And which car piled up the most tough NASCAR miles in '89? The Quaker State King Racing Buick. Its engine getting maximum protection from one tough motor oil. The same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf. Only one car was tough enough to stack up NASCAR's highest mileage total. Only one oil was tough enough to tough it out every single one of those miles. Quaker State. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Victory Lane ceremonies continue. Here's the jubilation there. It's Glenn Doyle, who is the president and founder of Raven Boats, along with Clay Campbell and Jeff Fuller, who won it here and won it all, the Raven Boats 150. Today's Steamboat coverage of this NASCAR Modified Tour event brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And, of course, a great crowd on hand today for modified racing, as we'll have tomorrow to celebrate another Winston Cup show here, and a little different celebration possibly going on tomorrow. Let's find out from Benny Parsons.
Dale Earnhardt, I am told that you're having a birthday. Is that true?
Yeah, one more time.
I thought you quit such foolishness fast.
Well, I did, but everybody's been sending cards, so I'm going to have to admit to it.
How many does this make? Are you going to say how many this makes?
I'm going to be 38 tomorrow.
38 years old.
Straight face, that's 38 years old.
With a straight face.
I've got a lot of cards and letters from fans and gifts and cakes and everything, man. It's been tremendous. I really appreciate all the fans' response on it. It's a pretty neat deal.
Cakes. Did you say cakes?
Yeah, come on, let's go have some cake.
I mean, how can you invite your buddies over for cakes and stuff like that?
Well, I'm going to, Benny. I mean, I've got one in there, and I've got 2 more coming tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow's the birthday. We'll have cake tomorrow.
Oh, am I invited?
Well, you can invite it now if you want some chocolate tonight.
Hey, Jerry, we got to go in the truck. You can fill the rest of this. We'll be back.
Oh, BP headed for the buffet line once again. Going to get some birthday cake. We'll take a look at the starting grid for tomorrow's Haynes Activewear 500, which you'll see live on ESPN. On the pole for the second time in a row here in Martinsville, Virginia, Jeff Bodine in his Budweiser Ford at 91.726 miles per hour. Outside the front row, the birthday boy, 38 tomorrow he'll be, Dale Earnhardt in the Goodrich Chevrolet. Back in row 2, good qualifying effort again for Ernie Irvin. He'll drive the Kodak Film Oldsmobile from the 3rd starting spot. And the man who was on the pole a week ago at Wilkesboro, Mark Martin in the Folgers Coffee Ford in 4th position outside of row 2. Good qualifying effort for Dale Jarrett from Conover, North Carolina. Up the road here, the Stewart, Virginia Wood Brothers team fields the Sitco Ford. Outside of row 3, Kenny Schrader, the Benton, Missouri driver, has the Kodiak Chevrolet qualifying at a little over 90.4 miles per hour. Back to row 4, Darrell Waltrip, the man who has won it all here the past couple of years, the last 3 in a row for the Tide Chevrolet driver, finishing 2nd last week in North Wilkesboro. He will start inside row 4. And alongside him, my co-host today, and a man who won it last week at North Wilkesboro, Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick. Rounding out the top 10, Dick Trickle, who qualified 3rd and ran in the top 5 all day a week ago. He will start inside row 5 tomorrow in the Trop Arctic Pontiac. And rounding the top 10, a good run for the former Busch Grand National Series champion, now Rookie of the Year candidate, Rob Moroso in the Crown Petroleum Oldsmobile. He will start in 10th spot. Well, it's been a great year thus far for Jeff Bodine and the Budweiser Ford team, and they will be starting on the pole tomorrow here at Martinsville. What kind of day are they looking for, Benny Parsons?
Jeff Bodine, Jerry Punch wants to know what kind of day are you looking forward to tomorrow?
I'm looking for, I hope, a good day, a safe day. Can't talk very good, so I don't know how I'm going to communicate with Tim Brewer. You have to use hand signals, I guess. The car's working really good. It's handling good. We've got it going over the bumps, the rough part of the track. Feels good to me. The times are good in practice. The engine sounds great. It's just one of those things that everything looks really good for us. Now all we have to do is go out there and race, run the 500 laps, perform, get it over with, and hopefully we're the first guy to cross the finish line.
What's wrong with the boys?
I caught a cold. Kathy likes to sleep with the windows open, the fresh air, the fan blowing. Well, the fan blew it right over me, gave me a cold, kept her cool, but now I can't even talk.
Is this a concern? Are you concerned about your health tomorrow?
No, I'm okay, but I just can't talk.
Okay, Jerry Punch, if you look back towards turn 1, I think your range's coming. You're almost a 5 for 5 deal this year so far.
Just about, Benny Parsons. We made it to the day. We had a great race and great weather and a great crowd here at Martinsville, Virginia. We have a lot of racing action coming your way tonight. Speed Week with host Bob Jenkins at 7:30 p.m. Then the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Series coming up at 8 o'clock. Then Larry Newber will host the USAC Western States Midgets Race live at 9 o'clock tonight. And, of course, tomorrow, live racing flag-to-flag coverage here from Martinsville, Virginia of the Haynes Activewear 500. The man you just talked to a minute ago, Jeff Bodine, along with the veteran Dale Earnhardt, will lead the charge here in race number 8 of the 29-race Winston Cup Tour. Again, congratulations to Jeff Fuller, an outstanding effort for the young driver. Jeff Fuller from Auburn, Massachusetts, sitting on the pole, leading all the way here in dominating fashion to win the Raven Boast 150. What an outstanding day for my co-host, Brett Bodine, who will race tomorrow, and pit commentator Benny Parsons. I'm Jerry Punch saying so long from Martinsville, Virginia.